Hello. My friend Don and I'm Father Ed Steiner, Don Stacy. We're going to talk to you a little bit about the Catechism of the Catholic Church. The Catechism helps us know the starting point of our faith. It also creates boundaries that if you go too far to the left this way, you're out of the ball game. You go too far to the right that way, you're out of the ball game. And the Catechism exists to keep all of us moving in the same direction. If you pick up a catechism and start looking at it, it's encyclopedic, so it's not exactly something you want to pick up like a novel, but it is an incredible book for what it teaches us about faith. Now, as a Catholic priest, I can tell you all kinds of stuff about this book, but then you would expect me to say some of the things I would say. So I'm actually going to hand this off to Don, because this catechism has been very influential in his life and in his life of faith. So he approaches it as the way the church intends, very much, but also he approaches it from a matter of personal faith as well. So Don, why don't you talk about the catechism?
A little of my background: I was a Protestant for 58 years. And in the fall of 2008, my daughter was in nursing school at Aquinas. One of her classes was Thomistic Ethics. One of her textbooks was this, which she brought home. I don't know how much of it she read, but I read an awful lot of it. And I'd never heard of this thing. It was Catechism of the Catholic Church, version 2. Believe it or not, version 1 was in 1566. So I started reading the book, and not just cover to cover, but jumping around from topic to topic that interests me in this. Mm-hmm. And after several months, it was into 2009 now, I just went to my wife and said, I think I'm a Catholic. I said, I can't find anything in here that I disagree with. And there's a lot in here that you can stew on, but it's a wonderful resource, particularly for somebody in my background who was taught that Catholics were, not even Christian in some cases. So that's the short story on my initial involvement with the Catechism. Now, I recommend it. In fact, in RCIA, we've given out. We gave a catechism last night. We gave this book, which is called This is the Faith. It's a much easier read, and it's in question and answer format. It'll ask you a question like I just opened it up, and what are the marks of the church? And it'll give you a description of that, and then point you to the catechism and the paragraphs that you need to go and read. So a much better approach than what I did is to use one of these resources to really get into it and understand your faith. Now, if you want to read it from cover to cover, we've got this approach too, which you read the Catechism and the Bible all in a year, 365 days. So, that's available in an organized way for you to get through it. In the Catechism, there's a section on it's called Citations, where you can, if you don't understand the scripture, you can look in the back in the citations, and it will have that scripture and where to go look in the Catechism to get an explanation of it. Well, it's even easier than that now. We've given out a Bible at RCIA. It's called the Didache Bible, and it's cross-referenced with the Catechism as well. So as you're reading along, let me just open it up. It will point you to places in the Catechism, and I'm in the book of Romans right now, and it points you to, I'm in chapter 15, and it points you to paragraph 1070 to 1072 to explain this particular aspect of Scripture. So we've made it a lot easier than it was in the past. You don't need to really pick up the Catechism and try to consume it in one sitting. The U.S. Catholic bishops have one as well. It's called United States Catholic Catechism for Adults. And it's also a question and answer approach. And you have a lot of history of the church in here from the church in the United States, going back to the very first bishop that came to the U.S. Long ago. There's also a journal that you can use to go through this, but the study aids for the Catechism now are very good, and it's something that I recommend. We're in the heart of Protestant country here, and I was thinking today, about what to say, and in 1 John 3:15, he says you need to have a ready defense for your faith. Not one presented in anger, but in humility and love. And so it's difficult to present a defense of your faith if you really don't know it that well. So highly recommend getting involved with that catechism, and you can make it a part of your daily reading.
As he is talking about many of our Protestant friends, some are in churches that we would call scriptural churches, some are in sacramental churches, but the accusation is sometimes made that Catholics aren't very scriptural.
Right.
Well, every statement or every paragraph has footnotes about where in the scripture is it. So you'll find out real quick, we are truly a scripturally based, Bible-based church, and you'll see it in here. So we hope as you go along, you get familiar with this book, and all of us around here at the parish, we're here to help you.